Welcome everyone to another episode of
Football with the fellas.
All About Big Blue.
Yes, sir.
What week are we in?
Oh man, we just finished week 7.
Week 7. Week 7. And
time flies, Mazo. By the way, this is your man Mazo here.
Oh, and that's Clay from Brooklyn.
Clay from Brooklyn in the house.
Can't forget that. I'm sorry, can't forget that. I was just kind of like trying to shake off what happened yesterday against the Eagles. I was just trying to shake that off.
Yes, and as you know, I was there. I was at the game. I go to one game a year. That was my game. It was rough.
Well, at least was the tailgate good? Was it,
The tailgate was good. I hung out with some people that we grew up with, and some of my neighbors currently. And so that's an annual get together. That's an annual hang. So that's always a fun way to start the day. And I went there hoping that Saquon would have a big game, and he did not disappoint. I mean, I wanted the Giants to win, of course. So that I was disappointed in, but I wanted Saquon to do work. Saquon did work.
So it would have been great if he was wearing blue and doing all that, but
there was a blue 26. It was the wrong one.
It was the wrong one. It was definitely the wrong one. Man. So you did go to the game.
I went to the game. Absolutely.
You enjoyed the game?
Had a good time. Hung out with some, like I said, some old friends and some current neighbors. Made some new friends, But I have to say, there were way too many Eagles fans there. So just as a brief note, please, Giants fans, stop selling your tickets to the fans of the other team. If you got to sell your tickets, find somebody who wants the Giants to win. There were so many Eagles fans, it was really annoying.
That's not supposed to ever happen.
It's not supposed to happen.
No.
I mean, I realize Philly's pretty close relative to other NFL teams, but they still, it almost felt like a Philly home game by the end because so many Giants fans had left.
Oh, man.
Not okay.
Oh, no. So what were your key points in that game? You went.
So let me start with Saquon had 17 carries for 176 rushing yards and a touchdown. He averaged 10 yards a carry, 10.4 yards a carry, a first down per carry. He also had 2 catches for 11 yards, but the fact is he had 187 scrimmage yards. I mean, I can see why we didn't want him back, right? I can see why Joe Shane said, yeah, that's not somebody we want to keep on our team. Somebody who's good for 175 yards rushing. Why would we want that?
Why would we want that? What do we need that for? We got Daniel.
But the other thing is, and really more to the point, he had 3 runs of 38 or more yards on 3 different drives.
I saw that.
And each of those drives, they scored a touchdown on. Because those kind of big chunk plays are usually how and when you score a touchdown, right? That flips the field. That takes you from your end of the field deep into at least the middle of the field, if not into our side of the field. And then it's a lot easier to score. Plus, you have the momentum and everything. So we don't have explosive players like that. For the second week in a row, our longest play from scrimmage, I think, was 14 yards. I think it was either 14 or 15 yards the last 2 weeks.
We don't have that. We don't have that guy.
We don't have that guy and or that opportunity. Malik Nabers is probably that guy, but now everybody knows that, right? So now they're all doing their best to keep Malik Nabers under wraps. It's very frustrating to watch Saquon do work for another team.
Boy, and he did work. He did it. Oh, he did it to us. The defense had been playing well. And I looked at the game and I looked at the holes that were being opened up for him. And I said, I could not believe it. And
honestly, not only the holes, because yes, he had some decent holes, certainly better holes than he's had for his first 6 years with the Giants. But once he gets through the hole, he's explosive, right? He's the kind of guy that if you don't get him in the hole, it's a problem.
It's a big problem.
You somebody on the second level and either outrun or overpower somebody on the third level. So, you will be looking 20 to 30 yards downfield before you have any reasonable shot at tackling this man once he busts through the line.
Didn't he drag a couple of guys a couple of yards? And
several guys for 10 yards, yes.
But he didn't
drag
drag
one of the long drives.
he dragged somebody in blue again. This is what I'm trying to say. And it wasn't
Yes, yes.
practice. This was like this is a
Right.
real
No,
game.
this was in the game. He took a handoff from like inside his 10-yard line and brought the ball to midfield, carrying Giants galore. I mean, listen, the man is a beast. He is a weapon, not just a running back. And I just don't understand how we let him walk. But you know what? I had a great day. And in fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to show you a couple of pictures from the day.
Oh, you got some? Okay,
I
yeah.
took some
Check this
pictures.
out.
I took some pictures that I thought, why not share my experience with y'all. So I was sitting up in the nosebleed seats. Don't get me wrong. There's no bad seats at MetLife Stadium, but I was not low. But so this one on the left is from my seat, kind of the wide angle of the whole field, and then I zoomed in and I wanted to get to midfield. I wish we were on the other side of the field so the helmet was facing me, but
right.
This is the side I was sitting at. But it does give you a little bit of sense of the field. And then, of course, I had to walk around at halftime to check out the trophies.
Wow, look at that.
All the Eagles fans were talking about how great their franchise is. I was like, can you show me your second Super Bowl? Oh, you don't have a second Super Bowl. My bad. I thought maybe you had two like everybody. We have four. So that was fun. And then, this is a little bit of me outside the stadium. And
is that freshly
also
tailgated?
Tailgating. I also took a picture of the Eli tribute. There's a little Manning portion. So it was good times. It was good times.
Cool.
And then I also had my post game takeaways.
Oh boy.
So first of all, just a reminder that Joe Schoen blew it by letting Saquon go. Right, he was definitely our best weapon, and he let him go for about $5 million a year. And I say that because on Hard Knocks he was talking about, I'd like to sign him for like $7.5, $8 million, but I don't know. He'll probably consider that an insult. So you were willing to give him $7.5 million, let's call it, and he signed for $12.75 million a year. So that's $5 million that separated us. What did we do with $5 million that was better than having Saquon?
Right. Exactly.
And point number two is,
did it go to Daniel?
Well, I mean, it probably went to Devin Singletary or Greg Van Roten or one of the linemen, which we needed. Don't get me wrong, but if you ask me, what would I rather have, Devin Singletary and Greg Van Roten or Saquon? Give me Saquon. I mean, if that was my choice,
give me Saquon.
Point number two says Cooper DeJean had more punt return yards than we had passing yards, which is ridiculous. And it's not like he broke a long one. It's not like he had a Deion Sanders moment and ran a punt back, 75 yards. We punted a lot. We punted 11 times, but he had more punt return yards than we had passing yards. It is hard to win a game when they're getting more yardage out of their punt returner than you're getting out of your quarterback. That's just ridiculous.
That's facts.
Point number three, I think we're wasting Dexter's elite years just like we wasted Saquon's with this particular quarterback. We are never going to win because of him. That's just not who he is. And because of his salary structure, we can't even win with him, right? I used to say before he got that big deal, he's the kind of quarterback you can win with if you put the right pieces around him.
Right.
But at $40 million a year AAV, it's hard to put the right pieces around him.
Exactly.
And then I'll end my PowerPoint with, I'm already all in on the 2025 draft, and it is Cam Ward or bust. Yes. I am all about Cam Ward.
Oh, man, I can't wait till you do your draft show. I can't wait for that one. Oh, you look like you're starting a little early for it right now.
I am. The spreadsheet is already laid out. I just haven't done all the actual, film study and work yet. But I'm pretty sure, well, let me not say that. I'll just say there's several of the people who I'm pretty sure I'm going to be pounding the table for. I already know who they are. There's always some, people late developing additions to the list, but I got a couple of names in mind already.
So it just from what you ended with, it sounds like Cam Ward is in and Daniel Jones is out.
If I have anything to say about it, and I don't, but if I did, yes, he'd be out already.
Do you consider like what happened, I guess, because it's kind of 50-50. I was watching some shows today. on when Dable took him out of the game and sat him down. Did you consider
Yeah,
that benching or just leaving him, taking him out because the game was really out of hand at that point?
I took that as the game was out of hand. A, why risk him getting hurt in a game where he'd been sacked, 11 times already? And B, we had, I think, 100 yards of offense, 99 yards of offense with Danny Jones. It was time to wave the white flag and say, let's try something else. This
Right.
clearly is not working.
I agree with it. I agree
So
with it.
giving, why do we have Drew Lock if we can't put him in a game with down 28-3 with, 8 minutes left?
Somebody's got to hold a clipboard.
And like I said, let's spare Daniel Jones a little bit more punishment. And, maybe Drew Lock is hot. You don't have to necessarily be a better quarterback to have a better game, right? Nobody has a great game all the time. So if you're having a bad game, sit down and let's see if the other guy's having a better game. I'm not saying sit him down in the first quarter, but 10, 11 minutes left in the game, 28-3, Daniel wasn't bringing us back.
No, no. I'm hit optimism coming up here. I'm gonna try to give Daniel a little bit of a break because the offensive line, I'm not sure they were playing on our side yesterday. I'm really not sure.
They had a rough day.
There was a lot of lookout blocks. There's a lot of lookout blocks. I seen Daniel set up, and then him, like, as soon as he a back foot hit, there was a guy in his face.
That happened several times.
Several times. So I was trying to give him a break on that. But it's funny. Something we talked about, we say this every week. Something we talked about before. If he does not have enough time, that means he has to throw short. If he continues to throw short, the defense moves up. They move up. And
it's harder to throw short.
It's harder to throw short. So on this case, offensive line, you got blocked for him. The other thing is, I looked at the film, and I can't wait for your film study to come out. I watched the game again, and I'm looking at the pass patterns. I didn't see anyone really going long consistently. There should be one guy going long on every play.
I agree.
And they act like, it looks like the offensive coordinator says every play, they envision every play being run from like the 20. Like the 20. Right. And
like we
can't go long.
Like we don't have room to operate.
No, there were plays.
We're not always in the red zone. In fact, we're rarely in the red zone.
Rarely in the red zone. Rarely. But there were plays when Daniel Jones threw the ball, there was 2 giant receivers going for the catch. I'm like, you should never be that close to each other.
Yeah.
So again, I'm putting
a lot of problems.
A little something on Dable on this. We got to stretch the field a little bit. At least try.
And we also didn't run enough. I mean, not that we ran particularly well, but we should have, I think, run the ball more often to see if we could take advantage of the fact that they were playing basically pass coverage defense, right? They had 2 safeties back. I heard a stat today. I didn't actually watch the game again yet. I heard a stat today that they did not send more than 4 once, not once, all game. They rushed 3 or 4 every play. They were dropping into coverage. They had 7 and sometimes 8 people in coverage every single play. How do you get them out of that? By running the ball against those 3 or 4 that are on the line of scrimmage.
Right.
If they're only sending 3 or 4, then we should be able to block those 3 or 4 and get our running back to the second level. But you just have to be able to adjust and adapt. And that's one of the things I blame Dable for. Yes, I like Dable. He's done some good things, but these kind of in-game adjustments don't seem to be happening often enough, in my opinion.
He just seems to be stubborn. This is my game plan. I'm gonna stick with it, and that's that. And I thought I saw a quote where Malik Neighbors said he said the key words, I was open.
I was open.
Look
at the tape. I was open.
So he was open a couple of times, yeah. But after he caught a pass, then they said, well, let's put 2 or 3 guys on him, leaving our other guys one-on-one, and they still couldn't get the other guys the ball.
Yeah, and there's almost no yards after catch because we're running these short little comebacks and curls, and they're dropping 7 into coverage. So the amount of space you have to get open in is limited.
Right.
So by the time the ball it's not like Daniel Jones has a rocket. By the time the ball gets there, there's at least one guy fairly close to you already. So, there was very little opportunity for somebody to break a tackle and take it up the field. What I did notice is that Drew Lock was able to take a deep shot to Jalen Hyatt. Now, Hyatt missed. It looked to me like he broke stride. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but he broke stride and therefore had to dive for the ball and wound up breaking his rib. I don't understand how diving for a pass, you break your rib, but whatever. It is what it is. He has one catch and one broken rib this year. You're supposed to have more catches than broken ribs. That's just a general rule for wide receivers.
Oh, God.
But Locke was able to find him open down the sideline in, 3 series worth of plays, and Daniel Jones hasn't found him in 7 games.
Let me figure this one out. The question is, how long? How long? Is this next game coming up? Is this something that you think that this is Daniel Jones' make or break game?
Again, if it was up to me, it would be. In fact, if it was up to me, this one would have been. But Dable has already announced that Daniel Jones is starting against Pittsburgh. I don't think he made any reference to beyond the Pittsburgh game, but that's not surprising. He takes things 1 week at a time. But I think if we come out and play as badly against Pittsburgh, offensively, scoring 3 points, having,
how could we?
Offense. I was saying, if we have another game like that, how many more of those can we sit back and watch before we make some change? And I don't think Daboll's going to get fired, but he may think it. He may think, is my job secure? Maybe if I keep getting 3 points a week, it won't be. So let me do something different. And the easiest thing to do different is to change quarterback.
Was he an offensive coordinator anywhere?
Was he? Oh, yeah.
That's what he was before. He was an offensive coordinator before.
He was offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in a few different places, including Buffalo, where he came from. But also, he was Tua and Jalen's offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at the University of Alabama when they were winning national championships. He's done well with other quarterbacks in the past. He has a track record.
But since I always question that, because is it the coach or is it the talent that he's coaching?
Right. So that's why when you say the play calls are lacking something, my first thought is, yes, you're right, but why? Like you just said, is it because Daniel can't make those throws or can't make those reads? Because it's not like Dable forgot how to coach quarterbacks, right? He was Josh Allen's coach when Josh Allen went from, a big, strong, but inaccurate rookie to, an MVP candidate. So he knows how to coach quarterbacks and offenses.
But I guess it's our guy is giving him conniptions at this point, because I think he's proven to me right now. I try to stay on Daniel's good side in this one, but he's proven to me that he can't throw a long ball. He can't. He won't even attempt it. He won't attempt it. So is something wrong with his arm? Is he gun shy in the pocket?
And I think that this week with Andrew Thomas out, he may have gone back. He may have regressed a little bit, gone back to being a little antsy and gun shy. He did get pressured a lot, but he also ran into a couple of sacks himself, and certainly didn't, do a good job of scrambling away from pressure and turning it upfield into positive yardage.
Daniel Jones and scrambling. He
has done it before, just not consistently, right? There are games when he'll have, 60, 70 yards rushing because he's pulled it down, taken off upfield and picked up 8 or 10 yards 3 or 4 times. And then he'll have a designed quarterback run, or he'll, do the RPO and pull it. Of course, that was easier to do when you were faking the Saquon and everybody in the stadium collapsed on Saquon. But he can run, but isn't running particularly well, at least not yesterday.
And he's putting that shoulder down. Still, he's still putting the shoulder down. Still doing it.
Shoulder down.
So
time to sit him down. You don't want to lose the locker room. Like the key is you got people like Dexter Lawrence should be defensive player of the year. Dexter Lawrence is a beast.
I love watching him play.
He should be defensive player of the year. And not only are we wasting his prime seasons, but how many times can he be double or triple teamed and want to get rid of those 2 or 3 guys and still make the play when he knows that all it's going to do is make that team punt to our team who's going to go 3 and out anyway. At some point you start to be like, do I need to kill myself to get the ball back to this offense? Like we have a better chance of scoring on defense than on offense.
It's just,
So I worry
it's a
about
shame
us
that's true.
missing
It's a
his
shame.
prime. And Aziz had another sack. Brian Burns, who was playing injured, had a couple of big plays and a sack. I mean, that we did some things on defense. The first quarter and a half was a punt fest. It was just back and forth, punt, punt, punt.
And I was, you know what? And I was happy about that because I made the prediction. I said 17-14 or 21-17, something like that. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be a close NFC
like
game.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happened.
And then Saquon said, no, I'm going to take over.
Yeah. So can we pull anything positive from this game? I'm trying to.
I just talked about it.
Is that all?
Dexter Lawrence looked great as always. Brian Burns and Azeez Ojulari looked very good, certainly on various plays. I'm not going to say every single play like Dexter, but on several plays, they came up big. Bobby O always looks good. Tay Banks was up and down. Like he had some good reps in coverage, but then he had a couple of not so good reps, including one where he got yelled at by the defensive backs coach, Jerome Henderson, again, for not hustling. He seemed to have stopped chasing Jalen Hurts on a play where Jalen was scrambling for a first down. I think I heard later that he was saying that he thought Jalen was going to slide and he didn't want to get a penalty. But that just might be something that you say after you look at the tape and say, oh, that looked pretty bad.
Right.
Because it looked like he just waved him on by, like, go ahead, Jalen, get the first down. I'm not feeling like tapping right now.
That would be what we would do, eh?
Yeah.
And we can, it's funny. We haven't even mentioned Wandell. We didn't mention we didn't even mention Malik.
He had 4 catches for 40-something yards. I mean, he did his best, but he didn't have an impact on the game. I'll put it that way.
No, Wandell, nothing really. Just
so Wandell had a handful of catches. He had another drop. He seems to have a drop every week. So does Darius. Although I have to say that there was a pass that I've heard a lot of people blaming Darius for dropping. It was a pass where Malik was going deep on a post, and he literally pointed back at Darius, who was running a little curl underneath him. Not a curl, a down and in, what we used to call down and in. And that was coming wide open. So literally, as he was running the post, Malik Neighbors turned around and pointed at Darius, like telling Daniel Jones, throw to him, he's open, which is kind of embarrassing for a rookie to do to a quarterback.
Seasoned veteran quarterback.
But the fact is, Daniel Jones was scrambling to his left a little bit. He stopped to make the throw, and the throw was behind him. And Darius tried to slide and reach back and grab it, and he dropped it. Now, was it catchable? Yes, it was catchable. You'd like to see him make that catch.
Right. Yeah.
But it was a terrible throw. And even if he caught it, they would have just touched him down right there, when in fact he was running wide open, 15 yards downfield. You hit this man in stride with his speed, that would have been a big play. Who knows, maybe even a touchdown. But of course, the throw kept that from happening.
Was it windy? Was it windy in the game?
No.
So it wasn't windy.
Not at all. There was no wind at all.
Not at all. Not
there was a little bit of sun, and that's what I was saying online. I was arguing with a fellow Giants fan who said, why did Darius shot that ball? I said, not only was it a terrible pass, but if you freeze the frame right when Darius is reaching back for the ball, he's looking right at the sun.
Okay. So, but if the ball was in front of him, he could have just watched his hands, watch it fall in his hands. But, again, I still say Daniel Jones' arm is shot. I say Daniel Jones has
his
a
confidence
game and a half. I'm trying to, Clay, I'm looking around. I'm trying to find just a bit,
if you need some something to hang your hat on for next
please.
Week, 2 things. One, our defense is truly, capable of getting after any quarterback. So, obviously we didn't do very well against the run against, perhaps the best running back in football, but
who's playing for
they are a pass rushing beast. So if they're still going to go with Russell Wilson, and it looks like they are, he's not in his 20s anymore, right? So he may not be able to escape as well as he used to, 10 years ago. So that pressure could really impact him. So that's the good news, that we might be able to rattle Russell, who's also only, this is only his second game of the year. So
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
also not, quite in midseason form, so to speak, yet. So that's, I guess, encouraging. And honestly, I think Seattle looked past us, and that's how we snuck up and beat them. Pittsburgh might be thinking, oh, the Giants, we got this one.
Oh,
And that's sometimes when you lose.
I want offense. I'm sorry. I want
sorry.
offense.
You mean for the Giants?
For the Giants.
Oh, okay. Is that a thing? Is that allowed? It's Monday Night Football, right? So it's a primetime game.
Oh, no.
We do not do those well.
No, and Daniel doesn't play well under the lights.
Under the lights is just not where Daniel thrives. No.
Okay.
Isn't he like 1 in 15 or something lifetime in primetime games?
If it's one, I don't know if it's even a one, because it's Daniel. Oh, Daniel Nichols. I can't call him dimes anymore. I just can't. He's gotten changed.
He's not dropping dimes. He's not dropping dimes.
All right. So okay.
And there's also some talk about possibly moving Illuminor to left tackle and bringing Neal in at right tackle, because Joshua Ezeudu struggled, especially early in the game, at left tackle. Again, personally, I think that's a bad idea. I'd rather see Illuminor get more reps and see what he can do, and leave the right tackle alone because he's playing well. Why weaken two positions?
But it was hard to tell. It was only two from yesterday's game. It really seemed like the Eagles knew our snap count. It's funny. They're only sending 3 guys and they still were getting to Daniel.
3 and 4 guys, mostly 4, but every now and then 3.
But even 4 guys, and we keep a back
did not have
end.
a good pass blocking game. Our interior offensive line didn't do well. And it's funny because it seems as though 1 or 2 people had a bad play every play.
Every play.
Right? Sometimes you see like a jailbreak and everybody, like, you almost feel like, did they call a screen and the quarterback just forgot? Like, nobody blocked it. And then for the next 5 or 6 plays, everybody's blocked. No, it seemed like every play, somebody, and sometimes 2 somebodies, was whiffing on a block. That's probably
play. Let me ask the people. Listen, Giant fans. Answer this question for me. Do you think, one, am I crazy? Am I being too optimistic saying that the Giants can win another game? You can put that in the comments.
This one, or just period?
Just one more game.
Not necessarily the next game.
Not the next game, but just a game this season.
A game
this season. And secondly, I want to ask this. Is it too early to say, Daniel Jones, sit down, sit yo down?
You want our viewers to answer that, or you want
I want our viewers to answer that.
Okay,
I know what you're going to say.
Yes.
Like I don't know what you're going to say yet, and I'm afraid of what you're going to say. I'm trying to give him one more week, because I don't feel he was benched last game. I just thought it was, it was blowout.
It was the right thing to do in that circumstance.
But is this week coming up? Is that the Daniel
last
Jones?
Chance?
Yeah, it's either play well or stay on the sidelines, grab a clipboard. Tell me about it, y'all. Tell me. Somebody tell me.
I hear you.
Give me some optimism. Somebody tell me something. Hey, y'all. We appreciate you all checking us out.
Definitely.
We appreciate you very much. I'm your man, Mazo.
Play from Brooklyn. Football with the fellas.
It's all about Big Blue.
Yes, sir.
Win, lose, draw. It's all about Big Blue. Hey, until next time, y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.